How to save money for your first apartment? Are you planning to move into your first apartment? It's quite exhilarating to experience the freedom of having your own apartment that you can decorate and furnish however you'd like, where you don't need to worry anymore about your family or housemates, and where you can freely follow your own taste. At the same time, buying or renting your first apartment could be overwhelming for your finances. It's not just rent that is steep, but also security deposits, parking fees, hiring movers, buying apartment essentials, and other monthly expenses. Yikes! Thus, be ready for unpleasant, costly surprises while planning for your apartment. You need to have a considerably good amount to meet all your expenses conveniently. Still, the question is, how can you save money for your first apartment? Saving money becomes more tricky if you're new at managing your own finances. In such a case, you can claw your way only by planning and following a realistic budget plan. In this video, I'm sharing a few expert tips that you can use to plan your budget and save enough money for your first apartment. In other words, I'm going to clasp your hand and fly you to your first apartment. It will be an interesting as well as a viable flight, so just follow me till the end. The first step, making up your mind. Since you have now left your parents' nest and have flown to make your own home, it would keep you exhilarated the whole day in your office for having a place to go back to that you can now call your own. Moving to a solo place gives you freedom in many ways, but at the same time, it will add a huge load of financial responsibility on your back. You must first prepare yourself to meet these financial challenges and be ready to cross milestones to reach your final destination, your own apartment. So the first step is making up your mind. Step 2. Costs of renting your own apartment. Before jumping to budgeting, we must first have a glance at some of the major expenses that are going to welcome you to your new apartment. The lifestyle, thus the expenses, vary from person to person. We can make an estimate on some general costs. Monthly rent. The amount you will have to pay monthly for property management. Home. It carries household supplies, furniture, and appliances. Utility bills. The utility bills including gas, electricity, water, telephone, cable, etc. will have to be paid monthly or every 60 days. Internet costs. It includes the cost of Wi-Fi, cable, and television. It also includes your subscriptions to streaming services like Netflix and others. Pet rent or pet deposit. Some property owners may charge you pet rent or even a pet deposit. Renter's insurance. It is the coverage to ensure the protection of your valuables from theft or any other damage to your apartment. Others. There may be some additional expenses for parking, landscaping, trash, etc. Be realistic when you look for an apartment. The net cost for the apartment must not exceed 1/3 of your income. Step 3. Where to get started? Now, when you've created your mindset and made an estimation of the costs for your apartment, let's take another step. It's about considering your income and expenses before budgeting. Your income. To save for your apartment, you must have some steady sources of income first, right? So pick up the calculator and calculate your net monthly income. You can include the following as your source of income: salary and wages, bonuses and commissions, interests, and dividends. Although by a piece of good luck you might receive some cash gifts, they are always pleasant, but these are not continuous sources, so you shouldn't count on them in your income. Further, during your birthday week or at your convocation, you can expect some extra cash from your family and friends. It's better to deposit this amount in your savings account to speed up your progress for savings. Your monthly expenses. The next is to evaluate your monthly expenses. It will help you to predetermine how long you have to run in the race. You can make an estimate by reviewing your previous billing, bank, and credit card statements. Make sure to add occasional expenses and unexpected costs. Step 4. How to save money for an apartment? Now, let's start saving money for your apartment. First, create a savings account. The best way to keep yourself consistent and motivated towards your savings goal is to automate your savings and track your progress periodically. Thereby, you need to create a separate savings account. It's the first and yet the easiest step. Second, never neglect your budget. No doubt, renting your own apartment for the first time can be overwhelming, but you need to be realistic and stick to your budget. The luxurious suite in a deluxe town can be your desire, but not your current goal. Walk towards your destination with baby steps. A realistic goal with a kind of compromise will make it even easier to achieve. 3. Keep track of your daily expenses. The key to making a successful and realistic budget is keeping an eagle eye on your expenses. Note down all your expenses on a piece of paper and keep a record of your finances in any format that can even be digital. It will help you to figure out an average of your expenses and let you create a precise budget plan that works. 4. Sell unnecessary stuff. You can get off the ground by selling the stuff that is no longer in your use. Rotate your eyes around your room and start thinking. There would be something that you may sell. What about the earbuds that are getting older at the corner of your drawer? Well, if you have new ones now, they can either be earbuds, an old phone, watches, or even clothes that are stuffed in the different compartments of your cupboard. Take the plunge. Bring all of them out. Why not make your first savings out of those? It's not a bad idea. 5. Lower your costs. The only obvious and practical way to fill up your savings account is by lowering your cost. It comes as no surprise that we are all somewhere and somehow spending money beyond our needs. It needs to be cut off. If you want your own apartment, your first home, you will have to lower your costs. Let's discuss a few costs, compromising on which will help you add a big chunk to your apartment savings frequently. Utility bills. Delimit the use of electricity by switching off lights when not in use. Minimize the use of electrical appliances and lower the use of air conditioners. Using the utility sources wisely can lower your billing costs to even half. Fixed expenses. We often keep on overpaying for our insurance, car payments, internet billings, etc. Surprisingly, you can find out ways to save on these costs, like negotiating your insurance costs or switching the company, finding a more reasonable internet service, etc. You may delay the plan for a night out with friends this Sunday and take some time to manage your finance and expenses. Subscriptions. Many people have bought premium subscriptions for multiple digital services. Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc. are no doubt a quick source of entertainment. Instead, enjoying freedom in your own apartment can be even more amusing. So cancel out all the unnecessary subscriptions for at least the time until you settle in your first apartment. Dining out. Here is a dazing fact. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that an average household in America spends an average of $3,008 per year in dining out. Isn't it shocking? But it's a naked fact that we cannot ignore. You would save an unbelievable amount if you limit your dinners out. You must lessen your habit of dining out to have dinner on the couch at your apartment soon. Consider public transportation. Yes, a car is the most convenient source of travel. At the same time, having a car means a lot of expenses of maintenance, insurance, fuel costs, and heavy repairs. I'll recommend that you use public transportation for travel as much as possible instead of your own car. In the end, it will make a big addition to your savings account. Find out new ways. Find out the ways to save money more and more. Like you can compromise a bit on your luxurious lifestyle, spending a little bit less on your non-essential purchases. 6. Make a savings plan. In the end, make an achievable savings plan for your apartment. Set a weekly or monthly savings goal and do not compromise there. Step 5. How should you budget for an apartment? You can follow the 50-30-20 rule to create a budget in order to save enough for your apartment. What is the 50-30-20 rule? The 50-30-20 rule is a resourceful budgeting technique that divides your net income into 3 categories. Needs are 50%, wants are 30%, savings are 20%. The 50-30-20 rule suggests spending 50% of your total income on needs that include rent, groceries, transportation, insurance, etc. You must not confuse needs with your wants. Keep calm. There is a separate part of your income saved for your amusement. 30% of your income goes to your wants, which include shopping for your favorite bag or glasses, clothes, spending on drinks with friends, going to concerts, etc. In the end, 20% of your income goes to your savings account. The 50-30-20 rule is constructed for anyone who wants to keep a balance on his spending and wants to create a practical budget. However, for you who are longing for your apartment, I would recommend minimizing the wants to 20% and transferring 10% to your savings. 7. How long will it take to save for your apartment? Always remember, great things take time. Let's be realistic. Making enough savings to rent your apartment can take even longer than 6 months. Obviously, it all depends on your income and your savings plan to a great extent. Step 8. How much should you save for your first apartment? According to a survey, an average renter in America spends over $1,326 per month to pay for his rent. If we consider this estimate, you would have to make a minimum of $3,000 just to meet all your expenses for shifting and settling into your new apartment. It excludes your other monthly expenses. Step 9. How to save money for your apartment fast. First, sharing with a roommate. If you're really in a hurry to save enough to rent an apartment, sharing your apartment can be a good idea if privacy is not your priority. You can share your apartment with friends and divide the net cost into 2 equal halves. In this way, you will both be able to afford your own apartment in a little time. Find some extra sources of income. It can be a good idea to get a part-time job or find another extra source of cash. You can learn a new skill and start making a fine side income. To save more, obviously, you need to earn more. Getting your own first apartment is an exciting milestone in your young adult life. At the same time, it becomes a little bit tricky to manage finance and make a savings plan when you're new to finance. However, it will get easy from time to time and things will become more clear. The conclusion is to find out more and more ways to make money and at the same time accelerate savings. Make a realistic budget and create a feasible savings plan.